NASCAR on TNT at Indianapolis Raceway Park, where Brian Vickers in the 5 is all over the bumper of Shane Meal in the 48 for the race lead.
He's been trying to pass him on the inside. That time they ran across Brent Moore and blocked the advance of the 5 car, but he's going to try to get off turn 4. Mark, what you got going on in the pits?
Well, Benny, the 48, that is a brand new car. They decided after Milwaukee they needed something better for the short tracks, and Steve and Shane talked them into building a drop snout car. They finished it on Wednesday, took it to Greenville Pickens on Thursday in South Carolina. Ran about 30 laps. Shane said, I really love the way this car pivots in the corner, and they were good to go. They brought it here, and obviously it's an improved piece over what they had in Milwaukee. Right behind them, Brian Vickers has had a pretty busy week. Of course, he's 19 years old. His teammate back in 5th, Kyle Busch, is 18, and they went and talked to a bunch of other school kids in Philadelphia early this week at the Urban Youth Racing School. There were kids there from 8 to 18, and that's a school sponsored by GMAC to introduce city kids to racing. They trained them to drive a miniature car, so they went from Philadelphia, and they bopped over here to Indy.
Fantastic.
I noticed Mark said other school kids. Kyle and Brian are both young enough to be school age still.
I tell you, he's steady working on him. He's up under him right now, getting off turn 2. But they're getting ready to get into a lot of lap traffic also. So we'll see what kind of moves these guys can make.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be big here.
85 cars. John Hayden, last car in the lead lap in 21st position.
29 car is Marty Lindley.
Son of the great Butch Lindley.
That's right, who was a dominant figure in this NASCAR Busch Series race in the sportsman division before that.
I remember going to South Boston Speedway as a kid, watching him run that orange 16 round and round at that place, playing in the dirt and watching those guys go around. So I was a big fan of his father's.
And for now, Vickers got held up, getting through the traffic a little bit more. And so he's off Shane Meal's bumper a little. That 29 car is a Richard Childress Racing entry for Marty Lindley. Marty had arranged the ride with Richard because he had a sponsor to come do the race. Then the sponsor backed out of the deal, and RC said, let's go do it anyway.
Very, very nice of him. Again, I talked to Richard Childress just before this race and not down the garage area. He also was a fan of Butch Lindley.
That's just great class. I mean, Richard Childress has been around this sport a long time. He knows the ups and downs of sponsorships and young guys trying to make their way into the sport. So that's great of him to go ahead and let Marty come here, get some laps, get some great experience. So definitely commend him on that.
Marty Lindley spending most of his time in the USAR Series, the Hooters Cup Series. He's 3rd in their championship so far this season. So the leader's gotten by him, put him a lap down. Marty's running in 20th spot now. Now the second place man, Brian Vickers, trying to hold off David Green for that spot as they continue in this heavy pack of traffic.
Mike Wallace in the 4 car, trying to keep him going a lap down to Shane Meal in 48, trying his best.
I tell you, we talked about the 21 car, Johnny Sauter coming in, getting tires, see if he can go the rest of the way on fuel. He is not a long ways from getting a lap down right now, so if this fuel thing's going to pay off, he definitely has to stay ahead of the 48 car.
They hadn't made any progress on those tires, not like Stacy Compton did.
Maybe the car's still tight. With Herb and Butch here, and the car was too tight. They made the adjustments. Maybe it's just not working out for them as what they planned so far.
He's 18th place, and now he is last on the lead lap, Johnny Sauter. So he needs a caution like now. So Shane Meal has separated himself from second place Brian Vickers in some of the lap traffic. And we stay under green as we come up on halfway at Indianapolis Raceway Park and the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT. Check the old Stacker 2 race back. Good omen for winning the NASCAR Busch Series championship lately. He's been winning this race at IRP. 3 of the last 5 years, the winner here has gone on to win the big trophy at the end of the season.
So David Green would love to win this race tonight.
Scott Wimmer having a great drive tonight. You see he's gained more positions than anyone else in the field so far. Maybe he's the guy that's going to win the race in the championship. What do you think, Mark?
Well, Alan, certainly last year at the end of the year, the hottest team on the planet won 4 of the last 8 races, and it looks like they're again getting ready for a second half surge. I just talked to crew chief Chris Rice. He said the car's a little tight, needs a little bit more bite coming off the corners. Otherwise, they're in pretty good shape.
I Hey, I talked to Chris Rice this afternoon, and he said his car was a little loose in qualifying, but they needed it like that to be good tonight on the long run, that he really felt confident about his car, him and Scott both, and seems to be paying off. Scott is really moving up and been checking his lap times. He's running 2 to 3 tenths quicker than our leader's been doing, so he's moving up.
You get some history with Chris, right?
I do. Chris Rice used to be my crew chief in late model stock cars, and I started doing Busch racing, so I was so happy when he won his first ever Busch race last week with Scott. I called him. Plus, they brought in my cousin to spot tonight, who used to spot for me in late models in Busch racing. He spotted for Scott last week. They won the race. They brought Sam in again tonight, so he might be the good luck charm.
Not taking any chances. Check it out. David Stremme in the 1 has just been lapped by the leaders, and he's not going down easy.
No, he knows if those guys ever get in front of him, it's
And they have, and he realizes, but he's got to try to keep up with him as best he can, because if the caution flag were to come out, maybe they'd be gentlemen and let him have a lap back. Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I'm like Alan. Not much gentleman stuff going on the racetracks here the last few months in racing. It's been a lot of hard racing back to the line.
Well, what do you think about that?
I think we need to do something about it. I mean, gentlemen agreements were made with, Darrell Waltrip, Kel Yarvin, people like that. Back then, when you always try to give the guys a break if they wreck, to get the crews, the firemen out to the drivers. I wish NASCAR, they're trying to work on it, but until they can get something that's 100% foolproof, as far as freezing the field when the caution comes out, I think all the drivers will be better off. When we see one of our peers getting a wreck, we want to see the fire and safety get to them as quick as we can. So hopefully something in the near future will happen with that.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Vickers. He's a little bit faster now than Shane Meal in his 48 car. If he can get in front of him, I think he can drive away. But catching and passing, as we keep talking about, two entire different things.
Has he got him this time? Coming up on another slower car down in the inside lane.
That's hurting Brian a lot. Seems like every time he tries to get some momentum up, they run into the back of a slow car who will stand on the inside of the track, taking his line away. He has to get behind Shane and follow him for a couple more laps.
So Vickers has to give it up this time and fall back in line as they work through the traffic.
Oh, Shane Meal almost in the outside retaining wall.
We talked about when we came on the air, weather was threatening. There have been thunder showers all in and around Indiana throughout the night tonight. When they come to the start-finish line this time, they hit halfway in the race. Anything after that, if the weather interferes, we'll see.
On the apron.
On the apron of the racetrack, Brian Vickers in that 5 car. Shane Meal has, his spotter has told him also, he's looked in the rearview mirror and seen the line that the 5 car is running. He moved down a couple of laps to try that line and see if his car would pick up. But it doesn't appear as he liked it there. He moved back up the track now.
Yeah, I mean, every car's set up different, and I think he probably moved down 1 to take away Brian's entry into the corner, but 2, just to try to, hey, the 5 car's catching you, he's on the bottom, try this deal. Didn't work out, but Shane knows his car is good on the outside. He's going to make Vickers try to pace him on the bottom.
And we haven't even mentioned the 37 car who has caught these two. David Green, the Wolf.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there in 3rd spot right behind these two guys.
A lot of guys talk about their slipping and sliding. Brian looking for that apron makes me think of Homestead, where we saw guys driving on the apron on that flat racetrack last year, saying that that's where the most grip on the pavement was.
That's exactly right. And what it does is just, we race in the same line all the time, and that track temperature builds up from the heat of these Goodyear tires. So you go to the apron, the track temperature is a lot cooler there, you get more grip. Until at Homestead, everybody was running on the apron, so that became slick also.
How about that David Green car, Ralph?
Well, Alan, he was a little bit tight in the center of the corner, but that has gotten worse now. Now he's tight not only in the center, but he's tight off as well. He also had a little bit of a problem with the water temperature. He got up to about 235 degrees, and they don't seem to be too concerned about it just yet.
Well, if he's too tight, that's working for him. He's faster than those 2 cars in front of him.
As they run, David Green running in 3rd, Scott Riggs in 14th, and Jason Keller is in 4th place. Just joining us, haven't missed much here at IRP. Shane Meal in the 48 started on the pole. He's led all of the 105 laps they've completed so far. 1 caution flag in the race at lap 21 when Joey Clanton and Martin Truex Jr. got together in turn 3, collecting Stacy Compton. Clanton out of the race. Truex and Compton have continued. Lead lap 17 of the 43 starters. And the only other major headline of the night so far, Bobby Hamilton Jr. with an oil leak problem on his car has been in and out of the garage area a couple of times. He's back on track 59 laps down in 38th place.
Oh,
These guys are getting racy.
they are. Vickers had a terrific run on Shane Meal that time. Has another good run. Off turn 2.
Nope.
And we've been on the green a long time, guys, so forward bite here is a big issue right now. I know Vickers is probably wishing he had a little bit more. He gets on the apron, gets the car turned, and just can't let his car wash up and keep it straight enough. Spins the tires a little bit, and Shane pulls back around in front of him.
Oh, here we go. 77 cars slid up in front of the leader, Dana White. Lead change in lap traffic.
Nice move.
Well, I'm going to throw that one on the lap car. Lap cars are supposed to stay on the bottom, and White got into the corner too hot and slid right up in front of the leader and boxed him in. But Brian Vickers able to take advantage and hang the left. And we've got a new leader here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Brian Vickers out in front. We're just past halfway, and we have been under the green for a long time. These guys would love to have some fresh tires.